The weather is appalling today, so on this fine December day I've owned this year Chinese-made Tesla Model 3 standard range for about a year, and I have driven over 8,800 kilometers in it. My longest trip so far has been 1,200 kilometers driven in 2 days. And I've made some experiences driving this car. Let me tell you the good, the bad and the ugly. Let's start with the ugly. This here is, if I can get my camera even there, the cover for the trailer hitch. One of the reasons I got the Model 3 instead of its competitors was that back then, last year, it was the only model of electric car in this price range that was actually available with a trailer hitch with towing capacity. Other cars like the Hyundai Kona you could get with the trailer hitch, but only to put a bike rack on it, not with towing capacity. And since I'm a LARPer and I regularly need to lug around huge amounts of LARPing gear, I need my trailer. So Model 3 it was, but this trailer hitch on the Model 3 is really an afterthought. It is under this cover that I have to remove anytime I want to attach the hitch, and the power outlet, the electrical connectors point downwards. And there's not a lot of ground clearance on the Model 3 to begin with. So yeah, it works, but this could be so much better if it were designed to pull a trailer from the beginning. One of the good things is the luggage capacity. With seats folded down and the trailer attached, I managed to get all of my LARPing gear in here. So now I'm in the car because the weather is really not made for filming today. And the inside of the car is certainly one of the good parts. These seats are super comfortable and heated, making it easy, comfortable to drive long distance in them. The car seems to have a really good cabin air filter. There's barely any dust in here that I have to clean up. Barely any ever weird smells from the outside. It works really well. Also, the whole AC system works wonderful, and you even got modes for something like camping that will keep the temperature nice and cozy, no matter if it's super warm or super cold outside. So since this is an electric car, obviously this has an auxiliary heater. This is not just using the engine heat. And that means from my Tesla app on my phone, I can just turn on the heating, and then it will heat up the cabin, and all of the windows will be free from snow, or at least will be very easy to clean by the time I get to the car. And as long as you're plugged in to your household plug or another power supply, it won't even drain your battery. So it's very comfortable, especially in winter. Let's talk about range, as that is certainly a topic many people will be interested in. It says here 341 kilometers, and when it's fully charged it says 404, but that is very optimistic, especially in winter, since this uses electricity to heat rather than engine waste heat. When I heat the interior, this will drain the battery. So will the air conditioning, but the air conditioning doesn't drain the battery quite as fast as the heater does. This is still the old Model 3 that doesn't have the heat pump, so this just has a resistance heater, basically a hair dryer that is heating the air coming into the cabin, and that uses a lot of electricity. So in winter time we are more seeing like 300, maybe 250, depending on how you drive, kilometers of real range, which is not a lot. If I'm towing my trailer, so I got a small blue 750 kilogram trailer. I went to one lab that was about 200 kilometers from my place, and I picked up a friend along the way. I had the luggage stacked all the way to the roof. I had the trailer on that was also loaded pretty much to capacity. And then this range, this 100 kilometer range, became more like 200. But it was still doable. It wasn't even hard. So first leg of the trip, I drove to my friend's place and we plugged it in there, just into the household plug. Keep in mind though, in Germany we've got 220 volts household plug, so we can draw a bit more power than you can do from a 110 volt plug in the US. And I used that to charge back to full overnight, and then the next day we drove the final leg of the journey to the location of the lab, and we had to stop once along the way on a supercharger, but we would have stopped at that location or near that location anyhow to take a break, to get a coffee, get a snack. And by the time we had eaten our snack, drunk our coffees, and he smoked his smoke, the car was back to full capacity. Not 20 to 80% or something, it was plain full. And that has been my charging experience with the supercharger network in general. There's more than enough locations. Let me show you. It will show you the locations right here on your map. As you can see, Central Europe is just plastered in superchargers. It knows exactly how many charging stations there are, how many are full, and it will automatically plan the route with the required stops. It will tell you how long you need to stop to get to the next charger, and will tell you with how much charge remaining you will arrive. This has never been a problem. In fact, it has been super relaxing to drive like this. I've gone on holiday once this year, and as I said, on a business trip once this year. I just had to plug in the destinations in the sat-nav and then drive and take charging stops when it told me to. And in general, I would have taken a break from driving at that point anyhow. Because if you're driving for more than 2 hours at a time, your concentration will really suffer. So you have to take a break, rest your eyes, maybe even take a small nap to get your concentration back. And charging pretty much forced me to do that. So it was very relaxed taking these long journeys, even though I had to make some long charging stops. This is a picture from the nicest charging location I have been. It was in Neuss, near Düsseldorf International Airport, and they had like 40 Tesla superchargers and 10 other fast chargers in here, and nice like coffee shop. and it's brand new. The road wasn't fully paved yet. The solar panels in the background weren't all connected or even all placed yet. But I suspect in the future we will see more really nice dedicated charging locations like this. Another great thing is the Autopilot. So if this blue wheel is enabled, Autopilot is enabled, and it will automatically keep distance to the car before me, keep the speed, and most importantly keep the lane. And while you still need to watch out what the car is doing, you don't need to pay quite as much attention as you do when you're driving on your own. And on a long trip, and especially if you're stuck in traffic, this is just such an item of luxury. This makes driving this car so relaxed. Also, the Autopilot never has lapses in concentration. The Autopilot doesn't have blind spots. Instead of 2 eyes on a swivel, it's got 8 cameras all around the car. So it sees everything that is going on around it. No blind spot. And it will automatically brake and even avoid other cars and objects, obstacles, to avoid collisions. And this has potentially saved my ass once or twice already. Like, some car just cut in right in front of me. I didn't even have time to react, but the Autopilot saw that coming and braked. And the other time was when I was changing lanes and I didn't see a car coming up from behind into my blind spot. The car kept me from changing lanes and avoided that car, avoided the collision. And I don't know about you, but I'm stuck in traffic a lot. So Autopilot, this is not even like the full self-driving that is currently in beta. No, this is just the base spec. This is a driver assist feature. But even this Autopilot is a game changer when it comes to driving comfort and safety. It makes driving much more relaxed and can potentially save your ass. So, really good feature. What's not so good about this whole supercharging driving experience are the supercharger prices, the electricity prices. In general, electricity prices on the open market have gone through the roof in 2021, and the companies are putting that extra cost onto the customer. So if you're charging on something like a Ionity, you will pay up to 69 cents for a kilowatt hour. And the supercharger network, the Tesla network, is no exception to this. It is, though, the cheapest super fast charging option at the moment, and I believe 44 cents. Well, that is a lot more than I pay for electricity at home, thankfully. And it is a lot more than expected. If I'm driving on a long journey and I'm using a lot of superchargers, the costs add up. And I've got the feeling I'm not saving that much on fuel costs, electricity costs, compared to my old car, which was admittedly a very economical diesel. Also, back in 2020, when I sold that car and got the Model 3, diesel was at a very low price. It has since then, I believe, risen about 50%. So I would be surprised how much money I would be paying for diesel right now too. But if I manage to charge at home with my rooftop solar system, or if along my journey I can stop at a friend's place and then charge on their wall outlet. Then it's not much of a problem. And concerning charging at home, I have thought about installing a level 2 3-phase charging system that can charge with, I believe, up to 7 kilowatts compared to the 3 kilowatts I get with the normal system. But with just the normal wall plug at home I can charge 20 kilometers in an hour. This car has a 400 kilometer range, so in 20 hours I can charge it from empty to full. And I never arrive home on empty charge and have to drive another 400 kilometers the next day. That just doesn't happen. So I can either charge it overnight or preferably over the course of the day when it's sunny and I can take the electricity from my solar system. And I've not needed to charge faster once. So I haven't bothered installing a level 2 charger. Side note, you should remember to bring that charging cable when you're going on a trip so you can charge at your destination, or in emergency just stop at anywhere where there's electricity and put a few kilometers of charge in your car. At my local grocery store, the local Aldi, there are 2 stations for 2 level 2 chargers where a customer can charge up to 1 hour for free. And they've got rooftop solar too. So there's a great opportunity to top off a few extra kilometers while I'm shopping. So, in summary, I have not regretted buying this car once. It is fun to drive, super fast, handles well, it's comfortable to drive, it's quiet, it's got auxiliary heating, comfortable heated seats, super useful autopilot function. It has enough range and the charging is fast enough, at least if you're going to a supercharger, at least in Germany. But in winter time, and especially when you're pulling a trailer, more range would be nice to have. Also, there could be more electric infrastructure, and I'm sure in the future there will be, especially destination chargers. I don't need like a supercharger everywhere, but a level 2 charger at the grocery store, at the place you're working, at the hotel you're staying. So you can charge up your car for the way back while you're doing whatever you drove out to do. That would be extremely nice. So yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, drive safe, and I see you next video.